The federal government is proposing to crack down on high-interest loans, lowering the allowable interest rate from 47% a year to 35%. It's designed to keep borrowers from a debt spiral, but could it actually shut some people right out of the market? Jason Mullins is president and CEO of GoEasy Limited. He's also the vice chair of the Canadian Lenders Association. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And that association did send letters to some clients saying, now's your chance to speak up against this proposal. How many borrowers do you think could be shut out of the market if we see interest rates brought down this way?
Yeah, so the Canadian Lenders Association expects that if the government proceeds to lower the maximum allowable rate to the 35% that they've indicated, that could affect as many as 4 million Canadians that today have access to credit from licensed regulated lenders that in the future might not qualify for a loan.
Would that affect your clients? Because I was looking at your last quarterly results, and it seems to me that your average interest rate on your loans is about 30%.
That's right. The majority of our customers today that we serve are already below the 35% level the government's contemplated, but there are a segment of our borrowers that unfortunately will be affected by this and unfortunately have to turn to more expensive alternative like payday loans.
One of the questions, I guess, that's being raised, Jason, is whether lenders like GoEasy and others in the market, and there are a lot of them, could just be a little more tailored, and whether you won't, in fact, have to give fewer loans, but that there'll be different ranges. Some people will pay the very highest end, which might end up being 35. You might make less money, but does it actually mean people won't get loans?
Yeah, look, all lending products are priced according to risk. It's just like the insurance industry that's priced according to claims risk. And so ultimately, every single loan is priced according to what the lender believes the risk of that borrower is. So inevitably, as a lender is forced to have to reduce the allowable rate, there will always be a segment of borrowers that will no longer get access and lose access to that credit. And in this example, get pushed to an even more expensive alternative like a payday loan.
The big concern by people that are advocates, especially poverty advocates, of folks getting into debt spirals is that they begin to pay off existing debt with other debt. Is it something that GoEasy participates in? Would you allow somebody to take a loan in order to finance the payment of another loan?
Certainly, a customer who borrows a loan could use it to pay off other existing debts and consolidate debts. Sometimes that's actually in the best interest of the borrower. It helps them reduce their payment obligation. I think, though, it's really important to note that the number of customers that borrow these loans and are unable to repay is the small minority. The majority of customers, 85 to 90%, that use these products, use them in a responsible manner. They become useful tools to help them rebuild credit. And the majority of customers are able to successfully repay these loans.
Just about 30 seconds here, Jason, but would you be happier if the government also went after payday loans, which, although they are trying to reduce some of the fees there, they do kind of still exist outside this cap?
Yeah, well, look, that's the irony in all of this. By lowering the maximum allowable rate, you simply take a bunch of customers who today have a more affordable product that helps them improve their credit and can be obtained from a licensed regulated lender, and instead you push them to the payday loan, which is a much, much more expensive product with over 300% interest rate. So our view at the CLA is that's the product that should have been focused on. That's in the best interest of the borrower, and the mainstream product is better for the consumer.
Just a few seconds, but do you have any reason to believe the government will change its mind about this, the cap?
It's hard to say. We continue to engage with the government, continue to offer meetings through the CLA, and continue to request meetings so we can help them understand the unintended consequences. And the CLA is always available to speak and find constructive ways to work together to make sure there's regulations that protect the industry.
So good to have you, Jason. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Jason Mullins, President and CEO of GoEasy, is also Vice Chair of the Canadian Lenders Association. Time for the takeaway and power to the people. Call it a blast of harsh reality in Alberta this week. A deep freeze across the prairies coincided with some bad timing, and residents of the province were warned over the weekend that unless they conserved electricity, there would be rolling blackouts. To their credit, citizens sprang to action, turning off lights and the heat down, and managed to drop demand enough to save the grid. But should it really come to this? Of all the innovations that have allowed for human comfort and advancement, electrification has to be high on the list. And given the extent to which we now rely on technology, electricity truly is the most important commodity. And yet, how it's delivered to us is often the very last thing a population considers. How many times do we think about the grid or the transmission system that gets energy from where it's made to where we need it? That it be available and not too expensive is all we really care about. But these days, we take it for granted at our peril. And in some places like California, living in a wealthy, advanced economy does not spare you from doing without it on a regular basis. In Alberta, the culprit could be that some natural gas production was offline, and it could be bad luck that neighboring provinces needed their excess supply this time. But in general, experts agree that our grids are billions of dollars in the hole. We need more and better connected power systems, even for the energy we use now. And if we really want to transition to even more use of electricity, including widespread adoption of electric vehicles, we'll need even more capacity. None of this is a secret, but it is high time it became a priority. My takeaway, the grid is only boring when it works. When it starts to fail us, it will become the most important subject on the agenda. How about we make it important before that happens? That's Taking Stock for this week. I'm Amanda Lang. Thanks for being with us.